You're listening to the ASOTU CON Sessions by Effective live from ASOTU CON 2024.
All right, thank you for joining us in ASOTU CON Conversations, sponsored by our friends at Effective. I'm here with Katie Mayers, Chief Inspiration Officer and author.
Yeah.
Katie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so tell me about your automotive background. Because I think like you're a new face for a lot of people. You're all over LinkedIn. And this is your first time at an ASOTU.
That's what everyone keeps saying. I'm all over the place. I'm like, what the heck? I'm really not.
Well, I mean, you're kind of intentional about it, and you're good at it, so it's working. That's a good thing.
Yes.
Just give people a little flyover on who you are, where you came from.
Yeah, so I came into the automotive space about 7 years ago. I had really awful car buying experiences. Surprise, surprise. No way. So I'm a customer experience expert. I've designed experiences for some of the largest organizations in the world. And when I walked into the automotive space, I was like, oh my goodness. I cannot believe the experience we're receiving. I get a better experience with a $7 latte than I do with a $70,000 vehicle purchase. So I saw a huge opportunity, but further to that, I couldn't believe the gender disparity gap and how women were treated as customers. And so I started doing research, and I went down that rabbit hole, and it got dug really, really deep, and I wrote the book CustomHer Experience, and I started speaking at all the major events, so NADA, SEMA, Digital Dealer. I now sit on the board of Women in Automotive, and I've worked with OEs like Honda and Volvo and Volkswagen and so on and so forth.
So CustomHer Experience.
Yes.
Give us the premise of the book.
Well, basically,
Is it just for automotive, or is it for every industry?
No, it's for everybody. Although my opening story does depict the lovely car shopping experiences that I had. But it is the catalyst to the book. But it's for everybody. CustomHer Experience, basically I studied the physiological differences between men and women and why we buy versus why men buy. And I help male-dominated spaces cast their experience net wide enough so they can capture the world's most influential consumer.
All right, let's dig in. You said the physiological differences.
Yes.
Let's learn about what those are.
See, I knew going into male-dominated spaces, I needed to talk man. And I needed to be able to be very pointed.
Man sound like?
Very logical. I couldn't come into a space and be like, I am a woman and we're great, and so you should listen to me and serve us better. But we are actually physiologically built differently. So our limbic system, which is our emotional and memory hub of our brain, a woman's limbic system is almost double the size of a man's, which means we feel more, we remember details. And gentlemen, if you have a wife, a daughter, a girlfriend, a mother that has remembered a fight in grave detail from like 10 years ago,
we need a show of hands for the live studio audience. Do you have the show of hands?
Anyone have that? Yeah. She's physiologically meant to do that. It's really not her fault. Also, women will communicate with two sides of their brain, creativity and logic. And we actually have more gray matter that connects the two. So we're able to come to quicker conclusions and more creative solutions. Gentlemen, you only communicate with one side of your brain. The logical side. And so we are very, very different. And what a woman is looking for in an experience is a hedonic experience, the experience of the senses. So the way your dealership, the temperature of your dealership, the fluorescent lighting, the smell of burnt coffee, the really rough hand towels in the women's washrooms, the very like alcohol-smelling soap you might have in there. Those things matter to a woman, whereas a man is very utilitarian.
Let me ask you, they matter? Is it more of an involuntary matter? Right? They're not processing. It's all adding up to a fact that like, I don't like this experience because
yes.
like whether it's like the tactile experience of the towels or the music or the smell of the burnt coffee.
Or the lack of disingenuine connection with the sales associate.
Okay.
So it's very much who she is. Mm-hmm. And I am generalizing. Obviously, everyone's a little bit different, mm-hmm. But it is definitely who she is. So it is involuntary. It's what she needs and wants. It's the way her brain is made.
So the book goes into the physiological differences, mm-hmm. and it obviously reaches some conclusions. And so,
yes.
give us the Cliff's Notes.
Well,
we want to read the book, but like, give us a takeaway or two.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of dealers, or if they're not dealer, industry partners, people who do create experiences, right? And whether you're working with male or female, your experience is going to have to cater to both. What are some broad strokes that we might be able to apply and walk away with?
Honestly, just be kind. If I were to give you a broad stroke, if you're going to look at your customer journey map, I mean, I'm not going to get into like the details because there's a lot of work that you have to go that goes into it to break it down. But so there's a difference between nice and kind. Nice are the associates that are on the floor, and they have to be that way. Kind is something that is true and genuine. And so if you want to capture her wallet, then just be genuine, like show genuine interest in her as a customer. I always say this when I'm on stage and or working with a dealership or any company in any industry, and I hope I can be completely blunt with y'all. But if you do not feel the need to be kind to your customers, then you should give your head a shake, because they are the ones that keep a roof over your head and food on the table. They are the reason why little Johnny gets to go to soccer. And it's not the dealer. Like, I look at the employees. If you can't be genuine, it's the customer. They're the ones that keep the doors open and the lights on. So find a way to connect with them. Be kind, be genuine. And when a woman and a man comes in together, greet her too, please. I did a study. Out of 1,000 women, so 88% of them went in with a man because they were afraid to go by themselves. 87% of them said, they didn't acknowledge me the entire time. But 100% of them said they were not greeted. The man was greeted first, and the woman was not greeted at all. So it's low-hanging fruit, little changes that will make a huge, huge difference.
You know, so the listening audience of the audio version and the in-person audience at ASOTU CON are going to be a little bit different. The audience we have here at ASOTU CON is like, I bet, I mean, this is anecdotal, but these aren't the types of places and stores where we're going to have the burnt coffee. And I think there's already some intentionality toward understanding a customer and treating them how they want to be treated in a little bit of a better way. Can you talk about some practical, you put some real low bar examples, right?
You said broad strokes.
I did. Well, let's get a little more specific.
Yes.
Right. So do you have any like examples, tactics, or some things that we can maybe take, like how does a woman process kindness in a sales transaction or a service transaction that we might be able to like think about a little bit more?
Yeah, you want to genuinely connect and have that ability to show compassion, show empathy, reveal vulnerabilities. And I don't mean like share your sob stories, but connect with that person if they had car trouble or they are busy and you have something going on in your life that reflects the same. Be a little bit vulnerable. Take your time. I mean, having that time to create that relationship is extremely important, and time is the only unrenewable source, right? So when we give someone the time, they feel important. And constantly evolve the relationship. Just because that customer has left the store or made the purchase, that in-between purchase interaction is what keeps your customer coming back. So make sure you're continuously evolving the relationship. But if we want to go a little bit higher and a little bit more detailed, I mean, what is your brand promise? What are your brand pillars? Have you broken down the touch points, your customer journey through time? Have you taken a look at your operational standards, your experiential standards? How do you anticipate their needs and deliver a +1? Do you look at the things that can go wrong and do go wrong, and do you have solutions for them when they do? And doing that by touch point. Every interaction through time that your customer has with you, have you broken that down? Create that brand playbook. And then the most important thing is, once you've done that, train your people on that first. The other systems and processes, they can come later. If you don't train them on empathy, creating a connection, creating an experience, then what will happen is, while they're frantically trying to, live up to the expectation of the process, they forget how to treat the customer. But if you can train them on how to treat the customer, and then they say, oh wait, I'm new, just give me a minute, I have to figure out this process, the customer is far more forgiving.
How do you feel like this translates into the employee experience? Because those two really seem to go hand in hand. Jim just shared that with us in the last example. How do you see those two things marrying, and what can be intentional on the employee side as well?
Yeah, so a customer can't truly love your business unless your employees love your business, period.
I agree with that.
So if you aren't turning your training right side up, in my opinion, meaning you're putting the people aspect first and teaching about your brand promise and what you're going to deliver first, then you're going to lose every single time. But if you take a look one step further to that is your culture. I mean, disappointment is expectations not met. So when you try to sell a person on the job and on the culture and they walk in day one and it's nothing like you said it was going to be, then you create this disappointment right off the bat. I talk about this thing called a trust account. And for every one negative thing that happens, it takes 10 positive things to make up for that one thing. So if you have a zero balance trust account with your employee, they come in, it's your job to put deposits into that trust account. And when you do screw up, because you will, we're human, we're gonna drop the ball, you have a little bit of wiggle room. But if you do not put those deposits in, you're gonna go into overdraft.
It's not where you wanna be.
It's not where you wanna be, because guess what? Those people are serving the second most important person, your customer, which keeps your lights on. So your customer is only as happy as your happiest employee.
Yeah. I've heard that said about parenting, that you can only be as happy as your saddest child.
Yeah.
Right? And it's almost like kind of, it's human nature,
Yeah.
I guess. Tell us, what is your vision for the change you want to make in the auto industry over the next 5 years? We'll go broad.
Oh,
Danelle's like
gosh.
30 days.
30 days?
No, we'll go 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years.
5 years. We'll go 5 years.
I would love to change the perception of the industry for women. So
for women, meaning that you would love, if I'm a woman, I'm buying a car, that I think about what I'm about to embark on differently. Is that what you mean?
Well, that, but also if you're a woman that wants an incredible career.
Oh, got it.
And you can come into the industry and taking a chance on the industry. So female consumers want to do business where they see themselves in. So they want to see women in the dealerships. So it's a two-pronged approach. We have to get women applying. We have to get women looking at the industry differently, saying, oh my gosh, it's amazing. We need to stop, as ladies, complaining about the downfalls. They are there, don't get me wrong. But we need to, sing a different song so we can attract the women from a consumer perspective, or from an employee perspective, which will attract the women from a consumer perspective.
Well, I think that's a worthwhile goal. Katie,
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing some of your
you.
insight and your time with us
Thank
today.
you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this ASOTU CON session by Effective. If you want more content like this, you can check out our other podcasts. We have a daily show called The Automotive Troublemaker, Monday through Friday. Here on podcasts, also live streamed on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook. We also have a long-form podcast called Auto Collabs. And if you just want to go a little deeper into this community, you should sign up for our regular email. We put our heart and soul into it. You can get it for free by going to asotu.com. We'll see you next time.